Passage 4 was a slightly difficult read, okay, because it talked about Aristotle's notion of justice, right? So, a slightly abstract topic. However, the questions were not that difficult. So, difficult read, but the questions were not that difficult. I think it could have been attempted as your second or third RC passage, right? Coming to the questions. Question 16. The author makes all of the following arguments in the passage except which one? To be honest, this question would be better framed if we had said Aristotle makes all of the following arguments. However, since the entire passage is about what Aristotle says, that is why perhaps this has been written. Okay, now let's see. Even if, let's say, you didn't realize this bit, I think through options you do. A says universal justice is about common advantage and happiness of the political community. Yes, Aristotle said this. Yes, Aristotle said this. Okay. Justice involves treating equal persons equally and unequal persons unequally. So Aristotle says this in his book, that everyone agrees with this. So yes, he said this. Governance is not for everyone, but only the most virtuous. This is also something that's there in the RC passage. See, I'll show you this. He says this, no? Those with virtue who make full contribution to the political community, that is those with virtue as well as property and freedom. So he talked about a government of the virtuous citizens, okay? The ideal constitution in which the citizens are fully virtuous. So governance by the virtuous, citizens are also virtuous. So he makes all these 3 points, Aristotle. Right? Coming to the point that has not been made, right? So, universal justice of safeguarding the interest of every citizen is closely linked to the modern notion of individual rights. The author actually makes a very iffy statement regarding this. In fact, what the author says is this. Okay. Whether Aristotle understands the common advantage as safeguarding the interests of each and every citizen. So, whether his universal justice has this notion of common advantage. Now, whether he understands this common advantage as safeguarding the interests of each and every citizen, that has a bearing on, that actually decides whether and to what extent he anticipates what moderns would understand as a theory of individual rights. So we are talking particularly about common advantage here, that whether he understands this common advantage as safeguarding the interests of each and every citizen, that will decide whether, he is able to anticipate individual rights or not. He is able to anticipate the theory of individual rights or not. So it doesn't say that universal justice is closely linked to the theory of individual rights. It says that, okay, to what extent this common advantage mentioned as a part of universal justice actually means this, that will decide whether it is going to have a bearing on on the theory of individual rights or not. So the author is also not sure about this. The author has put a condition on it, and that is why this is something that is not our answer. This is something that is not an argument that has been made in the passage, right? So B, Bangalore is the answer here. I think again, if you understood this bit, that we had to eliminate those things that Aristotle had clearly mentioned, then this was not a tricky question. Okay, so I would call it easy to moderate, not difficult.